While the line between psychology and spirituality may be thinner than we initially believed, there's no doubt that some spiritual concepts can seem rather taboo. However, even then, we can't ignore the similarities between the two concepts in some instances, and the case of the INFJ Starseed happens to be one of them. Welcome, or welcome back, Psychos! Before we get into it, we'd love it if you liked and subscribed to our channel, as well as to click the post notification bell so you never miss a video. Alright, let's get right into the video, starting with number 1, the strong sense of feeling different. By having the inability to be exactly like another, of course, everyone is different in their own way, no matter what personality type you are. And due to these indifferences, it's not unlikely for any one person to feel different from the people around them. However, the INFJ personality type will explain feeling different to a sometimes personally concerning degree. It's not only that they have slight quirks that make them stand out from the rest, but also their innate ability to voluntarily and naturally fit in with nearly any surrounding. Well, this is the same indifference people who claim to be a spiritual starseed tend to feel in their daily lives. So, what is a starseed exactly? Well, according to intuitive psychic medium Alicia Wicker from aliciawicker.com, the spiritual starseed can be described as an old soul with deep spiritual wisdom that's been lying dormant, having arrived from other solar systems or star constellations. They've had many incarnations in other star systems, incarnating on Earth at various times. She explains that at some point, starseeds choose to incarnate on Earth to share their light, knowledge, and participate in the planet's evolution to fulfill a divine mission and bring positive change to the world. Ironically, this is a statement that a lot of INFJs would resonate with deeply. Number 2, the homesick feeling of not belonging. In relation to feeling so different from the world around them, it's a common phenomenon that both the INFJ personality type and the spiritual starseed claim to experience feelings of homesickness. Despite countless attempts at creating their safest surroundings to feel most like home, most INFJs, as well as Pleiadian starseeds, feel a strong sense of displacement, as though they've been dropped here without a compass, map, or instructions of their mission. Not only that, but to them, life here just feels wrong at times. With a deep inner knowing that they have a temporary purpose here on the earthly playing field, no matter where here is, starseeds feel like they're always a tourist no matter where they go. Something that INFJs can certainly relate to with their inability to settle for long, without looking for something that's more suitable or purposeful for them. Luckily, both the INFJ and the starseed being find small glimmers of belonging when they encounter like-minded souls throughout their journey, making the longing to go home much less difficult. Number 3, they have no choice but to strengthen their spirituality. While INFJs may be considered one of the personality types most involved with their personal spiritual path, that may not have been the case if they weren't intuitively guided in that direction. The very same goes with the starseed individual. In fact, like INFJs, most of the gifts, skills, and abilities starseeds are capable of lay dormant until they're mature enough to understand all the good they can do with them. And there's no way to mature like a long journey of spiritual enlightenment. Some personality types, and even intuitive empaths, can end up going their whole lives without even dipping their toes in the water of their spiritual nature. For the INFJ and starseed beings, however, they tend to have an understanding of the divine beyond books and religion. It's like they were born with a sprouting garden of spiritual understanding, while others came into the world with just mere seeds that require a little more attending to. For the INFJ and starseed people, life lessons begin nourishing their already sprouting spiritual garden very early on, giving them no choice but to be quite familiar with their spiritual side by the time of adulthood. Number 4, the highly active imagination. For most people, imagination is a place where dreams are both created and destroyed, because without leaving the constraint of imagination, no idea can ever be taken seriously. Since most people have forgotten the magic and freedom their imaginative creativity used to bring them when they were a child, spending time with their imaginary thoughts can seem like a waste of time. However, for the Pleiadian Starseed people with their noted divine intuition, as well as the INFJ with their unique cognitive function stack, imagination is the place to which everything they've ever experienced was created. It's their pantry of ingredients that allows them to play out their optimal reality, should they choose to combine them wisely. And with such a reliance on their imaginative minds, Starseeds, like INFJs, are said to have notably high inner activity, meaning they can seem rather in their head most of the time. Number 5. Babies, children, and animals are drawn to them. One similarity between the psychology-based INFJ and the spiritually-based Starseed is that they have an extremely magnetizing aura that can't quite be put into words. They both possess the same unspoken and intangible attribute in the very same way. And in the same way, some people are threatened by it, while others are drawn to it. This is because, with such honest and open energy, despite their rather aloof and daydreaming demeanor, these two similarly described beings attract innocence. Animals, babies, children, humans with special needs, often the INFJ and the Starseed being will find that they're the one they have an eye on. Whether it comes as an unspoken infatuation or a physical draw towards them, young, untainted souls find a sense of calmness around these two uncannily similar beings that is hard to resist. Plus, most of the time, they can understand the unspoken words of the voiceless, which gives these beings a sense of understanding they can't find elsewhere. Which brings us to our next point, number 6. Being able to pick up on the slightest nuances in people's moods. As a whole, the most ironic aspect of the correlation between the INFJ of the MBTI and the Starseed known through spiritual knowledge is that the spiritual Starseed seems to have very similar cognitive functions when perceiving both their inner and outer environments. One of the most prominent of qualities being their intrinsic empathy and ability to pick up on the slightest changes to energies and moods. In fact, just like the INFJ, people who claim to be of the Starseed incarnation are said to have to force themselves to integrate into society, as going out in the world can be too much to take on energetically. And just like the INFJ personality type, most spiritual and intuitive advice offered to people who have difficulty navigating the role of Starseed on planet Earth is surrounding the idea of forming the necessary boundaries to protect their abilities. Without these certain protective elements, living a regular life can actually end up being detrimental to their emotional and mental health. However, as INFJs know, it's much easier said than done. Which brings us to our next point, number 7. People seek counsel in them. With ancient wisdom and a subconscious storage of all lessons learned through previous lifetimes, people are deeply drawn to Starseeds. Much like the INFJ personality type often explains, Starseeds frequently come into contact with rather broken or lost people who require a little guidance. Without looking for it, Starseeds and INFJs attract both those who really need their unique support and healing and the toxic energy vampires that take their high energy for granted. And like the INFJ, Starseeds often have a love-hate relationship with this magnetism they carry with them. Because, as they rather not have the at times overwhelming ability, they too crave to help humanity in any which way possible. Luckily, with boundaries in place, the strong intuitive foundations that Starseeds and INFJs hold help them sort the good from the bad, allowing them to use their skills where most purposeful. And lastly, number 8. Being a truth seeker. With a longing to deepen their already flourishing spiritual nature combined with the need to fulfill their undisclosed mission in this lifetime, Starseeds, like INFJs, can't help but to seek truth wherever they are. Whether it be an interest in conspiracy concepts, spiritual theories, alternative medicines, or simply questioning the constructs placed upon society, Both INFJs and spiritual starseed people can't just accept and move on without understanding the origins, reasoning, and collective benefit the said concept has on Earthlings. They have an inner suspicion to most understandings in life that they slowly unravel throughout their lives. Paradoxically, unlike rather logical types, INFJs as well as starseeds don't require legitimate proof to their curiosities, but rather an explanation that resonates with their intuition, values, and morals, even if the concept is rather inconclusive. Unfortunately, being a truth seeker doesn't come easy, and can end up causing alienation not only institutionally, but also can cause serious judgments from family members or friends that have rather illogical or docile viewpoints. Well, psychos, that's it for today. So, do you think the INFJ personality type could be the starseed of the MBTI? Let us know in the comments below. Also, make sure to leave us a like, share with your friends, and also subscribe to our channel so that you never miss a video.